The phone vibrated at 3 a.m., slicing the silence like glass against skin. Anna's chest tightened as she grabbed it, the glow burning her tired eyes. David had left a single message, short, cruel in its simplicity. "We need to talk." She whispered, "No, not tonight." Yet she stared at those words, heart racing, stomach twisting, feeling the floor beneath her shift. Every sacrifice, every lonely night, every whispered promise echoed in that sentence. She had stayed awake countless nights to bridge oceans, waiting for calls that never came, convincing herself he was busy, that love was stronger than distance. Now, those 3 words erased years in seconds. Anna remembered the times she laughed at David's clumsy jokes through pixelated screens, when silence was filled with their shared dreams. Tonight, silence was poison. Her friend Claire's warning haunted her. "Anna, love doesn't vanish with distance, but it can with neglect." Tears stung her eyes as the shadows of betrayal grew in her mind. Was it another woman? Or worse, was she never enough? Her heart pounded like a drum in a storm, drowning reason. The room seemed smaller, suffocating, as though walls pressed in. "Please, not like this," Anna whispered to the night, clutching her phone as if it were the last tether to hope. Anna sat frozen long after the phone dimmed, the silence heavier than thunder. She whispered, "David, why now?" But her voice dissolved in the empty room. Her heart begged to call him, yet fear paralyzed her. She thought of the nights she waited, watching the clock tick, promising herself tomorrow would be different. Claire's voice echoed, a reminder that waiting for love shouldn't feel like drowning. Anna wrapped herself in a blanket, as though fabric could shield her from truth. The air was cold, her chest heavier with every shallow breath. She feared the message was the end, not of conversation but of them. The phone lay silent on the sheets, cruel in its stillness. Anna touched it with trembling fingers, whispering, "Ring, please." Each second became heavier. She thought of David's promises to never let her feel alone. Promises that now felt like ash. Her body ached with exhaustion, but her mind refused rest. She wondered if another woman answered the calls she was waiting for. Jealousy coiled like smoke in her chest, burning her faith. Tears wet the pillow beneath her head as her eyes searched the ceiling for answers. Anna remembered their first goodbye at the airport, David's arms around her whispering, "We'll be stronger than distance." The memory struck her like lightning, now bitter with irony. She whispered, "Were you lying?" As tears blurred her vision. The memory looped endlessly, his confident smile, his warm hug, the promises she clung to. Now every detail cut like glass. She pulled her knees to her chest, rocking gently as though to silence her mind. Silence roared louder than any goodbye. The room seemed colder with each minute. Anna whispered, "Why didn't you just call?" Her heart throbbed with the fear that David had already left her behind. She pressed the phone to her lips, as though it could carry her plea. The clock on the wall ticked mercilessly, mocking her. Her chest hurt, her eyes swollen. She felt as though the silence itself was speaking, telling her the end had already come. Yet she clung to hope, whispering his name into the void, as if he might hear. Morning light crept through the blinds, but Anna lay motionless, staring at the ceiling. The words haunted her, "We need to talk." She whispered, "David, what did I do wrong?" Her chest ached with the weight of silence. She thought about every sacrifice, nights awake for his late calls, the family dinners she missed just to hear his voice. She believed love could survive oceans, yet now it felt like she was drowning. Claire's words stung. "You've given him your life, Anna. But what has he given back?" She remembered how David once promised, "One day soon, I'll be there with you." She had believed him, built her hope on his vow. Her phone lay heavy on her chest, not with its weight but with the void it represented. She whispered, "Please tell me it still means something." The quiet mocked her plea. The kettle whistled in the kitchen, but Anna barely noticed. She sat at the table, staring into her untouched cup of coffee. Claire entered, pulling her cardigan tighter. "Anna, you can't keep waiting for scraps," she said firmly. Anna shook her head, whispering, "You don't understand. He's different." Claire's sigh carried years of concern. Love shouldn't feel like begging. Anna clutched her phone on the table, as if holding it tighter would summon David's voice. Every second of silence stretched, convincing her heart she was slowly losing him. She whispered, "He promised me, Claire." Claire's eyes softened, but her tone stayed sharp. "And you promised yourself happiness. Which promise matters more?" Anna walked past family photos hanging in the hallway, her mother's words echoing from last month. "This distance is breaking you." She had smiled then, insisting, "David and I are strong enough." Now even she doubted those words. She remembered her father's disapproving silence whenever David's name surfaced. Their judgment pressed like a weight, but Anna refused to let them win. She whispered to herself, "I love him. That has to count for something." Yet in her heart, doubt grew like cracks spreading across glass. She stopped in front of her reflection, seeing a stranger, tired, desperate, and unsure if she was still loved. That evening, Anna opened her laptop, scrolling through old chats with David. Each message glowed like a relic of a world she once believed in. She laughed softly at a line he wrote months ago. "One day the distance will be just a story we tell." Her laughter quickly broke into sobs. She typed his name in the search bar, her fingers trembling, but no new message appeared. She whispered, "Where are you, David?" Her chest heaved with frustration, love and anger colliding in a storm she couldn't calm. She wanted to delete everything, yet couldn't bear to erase the only proof he had once loved her. Night fell again, wrapping Anna in familiar loneliness. She lay curled under her blanket, whispering David's name into the dark. "Please, just call," she pleaded softly, voice cracking. The silence was merciless, each second carving deeper wounds. She thought of the sacrifices she had made, the jobs she turned down, the friends she drifted from, the years of waiting. Was it all for nothing? She asked the ceiling, tears wetting the pillow. Her phone stayed silent on the nightstand, glowing faintly with an unanswered hope. She closed her eyes, wishing distance could dissolve in dreams, but knowing reality would wait at dawn. The phone finally rang after days of silence, and Anna's chest tightened when David's name flashed across the screen. She answered quickly, her breath sharp, whispering, "David, I've missed you so much." His voice came back flat, drained of its warmth, and the distance in it felt colder than the miles that already separated them. "Anna, things have been busy," he said, as though it explained away nights of worry and tears. She gripped the phone tighter, her voice trembling but firm. "Busy doesn't mean you disappear. Do you know what it's like waiting for hours just to hear your voice?" Silence followed, broken only by his heavy sigh. "Not everything is about you," David muttered, his tone heavy with irritation. Anna's lips parted as though the words had sliced through her skin. Her heart pounded so loudly it drowned out the static in the line. "It's not about me, David," she whispered, her voice breaking. "It's about us." He said nothing, and the silence screamed louder than any answer. The soundlessness wrapped around her like a suffocating fog, making her wonder if she was already losing him for good. That night, Anna lay in bed with the echoes of their conversation replaying endlessly in her head. His words, "Not everything is about you," stabbed her again and again, like knives turning in the wound of her heart. She clutched her phone, her thumbs hovering above the screen as she typed message after message, deleting them before sending. Her chest heaved as she whispered into the dark, "Why do I feel like a burden to you?" She remembered the first months of their love, when every call lit her up, when David's voice filled her with fire instead of ashes. The contrast now felt unbearable. Jealousy crawled inside her chest like smoke, feeding doubts she couldn't silence. She pictured David laughing with someone else, sharing the attention she had begged for and been denied. Thought consumed her, hollowing her from the inside. Her body curled tighter beneath her blanket, and still, the silence of her phone felt louder than thunder. Anna whispered, "Just one word from you, David, just one," but nothing came. Her heart ached as if silence itself had chosen sides against her. The next evening, Anna's fears sharpened into reality when she scrolled through social media, and saw David smiling in a photo with another woman she had never seen before. Her breath caught in her throat, her body freezing. The woman stood close to him, their shoulders nearly touching, their smiles radiant as if they shared a private joy. Anna's heart hammered as her chest tightened. "Who is she?" she whispered to the screen, her voice breaking. The jealousy burned like acid, twisting every nerve in her body. Her hands shook so violently she almost dropped her phone. She tried to convince herself it was innocent, but Claire's voice echoed in her mind. "He has a whole life without you, Anna. You're not part of it anymore." Her vision blurred with tears as she stared at the image until it seared itself into her memory. "Tell me she's just a friend," Anna begged the empty air, but the silence pressed against her like a cruel answer. The miles between them felt infinite, and her trust cracked under the weight of suspicion. Anna couldn't hold back. Her hands shook as she called David, and when he finally answered, her voice came out raw with fear. "Who was the woman in that photo?" she demanded. A pause stretched, long enough to pierce her chest. His reply was calm but dismissive. "Coworker, Anna. Nothing more." Her throat burned as she pressed. "Then why didn't you tell me? Why do I have to find out from strangers?" David's sigh rolled heavy through the line, drenched in exhaustion. "Because you're suffocating me," he said sharply. Anna's breath caught, her body trembling. "I'm suffocating you because I want honesty," she snapped, anger breaking through her tears. Silence pressed harder, heavier, until he finally spoke again, his voice colder than ice. "Maybe we're not working anymore. Maybe this distance is showing the truth." Anna's tears poured freely as her heart felt like it was collapsing. She whispered into the void, "You're slipping away, David, and you don't even care." After the call ended, Anna collapsed onto her bed, the weight of despair crushing her body. Her sobs came in waves, each one tearing her apart from the inside. She whispered into her blanket, "He doesn't want me anymore." The thought hollowed her out, leaving only shards where her heart had been. She remembered his voice once telling her, "I'll never let distance win." But distance had already stolen everything she believed in. Her chest hurt so deeply it felt like she couldn't breathe. She clutched the blanket tighter, as if it were his arms, but all she felt was emptiness. Claire's warning returned, sharper than ever. "Love shouldn't break you, Anna," she whispered back, voice shaking. "Then why am I shattered?" Tears soaked her pillow as she rocked slightly, her sobs echoing through the silent room. The night offered no comfort, only the cruel reminder that love, once her anchor, had become the weight pulling her under. Anna's phone buzzed late at night with a message from Claire. Her hands trembled as she opened it, and the image burned her eyes, David with the same woman again, their smiles intimate. Claire's words followed, "Anna, I'm sorry, but you need to see this." Anna's stomach knotted as her chest tightened. She whispered, "Why didn't you tell me, David?" Her memories twisted, every promise poisoned. "He said I was his forever," she thought, choking on tears. The photo felt like proof of betrayal, undeniable and merciless. She clutched her phone and cried, "How could you do this to me?" The next morning, Anna confronted David on a video call. Her voice trembled with fury. "Why didn't you tell me about her?" she demanded. David rubbed his face, avoiding her gaze. "It's not what you think," he muttered. Anna's tears blurred the screen. "You said I was enough," she cried. David's silence confirmed her fears more than words could. "How long?" she asked, her voice cracking. He finally whispered, "A few months." The world spun around Anna as her heart broke into pieces. "You lied to me," she said, her voice hollow. David lowered his head, unable to respond. Anna slammed her laptop shut, her breath ragged as sobs shook her body. Claire rushed into the room and wrapped her arms around her. "I told you he wasn't giving you what you deserved," Claire whispered. Anna cried against her shoulder. "I loved him more than myself, Claire. How could he?" Claire's eyes filled with pain for her friend, but her voice stayed firm. "Anna, love is supposed to destroy you." Anna pulled away, whispering, "But it did. He destroyed me. Her chest hurt so badly it felt like she couldn't breathe. Her world was collapsing, and she had no strength to stop it. Anna wandered into the living room that night, staring at old photos of her and David together. In one, he kissed her cheek, both of them laughing, happiness radiating. She traced his face with trembling fingers, whispering, "Where did you go?" Every frame that once gave her hope now mocked her. She remembered his voice. "No one will ever replace you." Yet here she stood, replaced. Her body shook with anger and sorrow. She whispered to the empty room, "You lied, David. You lied every day." Her tears blurred the photo until his smile disappeared into shadows. Later that night, Anna opened David's old messages again, searching for the truth hidden between the lines. One stood out. "I'll never let anything come between us," she whispered bitterly, "except another woman." Her heart screamed with betrayal. She typed a long message, her fingers trembling, then deleted every word. Her voice cracked as she said, "I don't even know who you are anymore." For the first time she realized the man she loved wasn't the man she thought she knew. The betrayal wasn't just in his silence, but in the pieces of herself she had given him freely. Anna's hands trembled as she dialed David again, unable to hold back. When he answered, her voice was sharp with pain. "Why, David? Why did you betray me?" His silence dragged before he muttered, "It wasn't supposed to happen." Anna's heart thundered as she screamed, "You said I was your forever." Her words cracked like glass. David whispered, "I didn't mean to hurt you." The weak excuse enraged her. "You shattered me with every lie," she cried. His sigh filled the void, weary and cold. "Anna, maybe we were never meant to last." Her body shook as though the world collapsed beneath her. Anna's voice broke into sobs. "I gave you everything, David. Every night, every sacrifice, every piece of me." David's tone turned sharp. "I never asked you to?" The words cut deeper than betrayal. Anna's hand shook violently as she shouted, "You promised, you swore you'd fight for us." David closed his eyes, his face weary. "I'm tired of fighting." Silence roared between them, heavy and suffocating. Anna pressed her forehead to her knees, whispering, "Then, what was I to you?" David's answer was cruel in its simplicity. "Comfort maybe, but not forever." Anna gasped, her soul shattering into silence. Anna staggered to her feet, pacing as fury mixed with heartbreak. "Comfort? I tore my life apart for you," she screamed. David's tone grew icy. "Maybe you should have lived your life instead of waiting on mine." Her chest felt like fire as she shouted, "I was living my life, with you in it." David shook his head. "No, you were surviving on scraps." The venom in his words left her breathless. Her tears blurred everything, yet she forced herself to say, "You were the coward, David, not me." His silence this time felt heavier than anything else, like a final knife twisting inside her. Anna collapsed against the wall, sliding down until she sat on the cold floor. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Did you ever love me, David?" His pause was long, merciless. Finally he spoke, "I don't know anymore." Her world shattered in that moment, the final thread of hope severed. She screamed, raw and broken, "I gave you everything." Her sobs filled the room, drowning out his quiet response. "And maybe that's why I couldn't stay." Anna buried her face in her hands, realizing the man she loved was gone long before she admitted it. Her tears soaked the silence. The call ended abruptly, leaving Anna staring at the black screen. She whispered to the silence, "That was the last time I'll hear his voice." The weight of her grief pressed so heavily that she struggled to breathe. Memories flooded her mind, David's laughter, his promises, his warmth, and each one stung like a blade. She hugged her blanket to her chest, rocking slightly as though to keep from falling apart. "You killed me without touching me," she whispered into the dark. The silence that followed felt eternal, a grave for everything they once were. Tears streamed endlessly as she broke. The next morning, Anna woke to sunlight cutting across her tear-streaked face. Her phone lay silent on the nightstand, a grave for the love she once clung to. She whispered, "It's really over." Her chest felt hollow, yet there was a strange clarity. She walked to the mirror and studied her reflection, eyes swollen, hair tangled, but alive. "I'm still here," she told herself softly. Claire's words replayed. "Love shouldn't break you." Anna pressed her palms to the glass, whispering, "I can't let him break me anymore." For the first time, her tears slowed, replaced with an ache that carried resolve. Anna sat across from Claire at a cafe later that day, her coffee untouched. Claire reached across the table and said gently, "You don't have to carry him anymore." Anna nodded slowly, whispering, "But I don't know how to stop." Claire squeezed her hand. "One step at a time." Anna's chest tightened, but she managed a faint smile. "I thought he was my future." Claire's voice was firm. "He was just a chapter, not the whole book." Anna's throat ached as she whispered, "Then maybe it's time I start writing the rest." For the first time, her words didn't feel like lies. That evening, Anna gathered the photos and letters David had sent. She sat on the floor with them spread around her like fragments of a broken life. Each smile in a photo felt like a lie, each word in a letter like poison. She picked up one letter, whispering, "You said you'd never let go." Her hands shook as she dropped it into a box. Slowly, she packed them all away, each piece a memory she no longer wanted to feed. When she closed the box, her tears fell freely. "Goodbye, David," she whispered, voice trembling but stronger than before. Anna walked outside for the first time in days, the crisp evening air filling her lungs. She wrapped her coat tighter around her, lifting her face to the fading sunlight. For a moment, she felt the quiet peace of the world moving forward without David. She whispered, "I can breathe again." The sky was painted in orange and violet, a reminder that endings could still be beautiful. She thought of Claire's voice. "One step at a time." Anna's steps felt heavy but certain. She was not healed, not whole, but she was moving. That in itself felt like survival. Later that night, Anna sat at her desk with her journal open. Her pen moved slowly, words spilling onto the page. "I loved you, David, but I have to love myself more now." She paused, staring at the ink as tears blurred her vision. "This is my story too," she whispered. Closing the journal, she placed her hand on its cover, breathing deeply. For the first time in weeks, her room felt less suffocating. The silence still hurt, but it no longer swallowed her whole. She whispered into the night, "Goodbye," and for once the word felt like freedom. Anna stood at the train station, watching strangers rush past with luggage and reunions. She clutched her phone tightly, but didn't unlock it. She whispered, "Not waiting anymore." Her chest ached, but the decision carried weight. She remembered how she once counted every call, every promise, like lifelines. Now the silence had taught her what love should never feel like: abandonment. Claire's words echoed, steady and true, "You're stronger than the silence." Anna exhaled, long and steady. "David, you lost me," she whispered, her tears no longer desperate but final. She turned toward the platform, ready to step forward alone. At home later, Anna opened the box of David's letters and photos. She lit a single candle and whispered, "Goodbye." One by one, she fed the papers into the flame. Each word curled into ash, the smoke drifting upward like ghosts leaving her chest. Tears welled, but her hands stayed steady. "You can't haunt me anymore," she whispered as the last photo blackened. The silence felt lighter, no longer suffocating. She realized grief could burn away too, leaving only strength behind. Watching the ashes settle, she whispered softly, "This is where I end us." The words felt final, yet freeing. The next morning, Anna walked to the park where couples strolled hand in hand. She sat alone on a bench, her scarf wrapped tight. The ache was still there, but less sharp. She whispered, "I thought I'd disappear without him." Yet as children laughed in the distance and the breeze touched her face, she realized she was still here. Claire joined her, slipping an arm through hers. "See?" Claire said softly. The world didn't stop. Anna managed a small smile. Maybe mine just started again. For the first time, the weight of loss didn't crush her. It pushed her forward. That evening, Anna walked through the city streets alone. Neon lights reflected in rain puddles, and she let the cool air sting her face. For the first time, she didn't check her phone. She whispered, "I don't need him anymore." Every step echoed like a declaration. She thought of David's words, "Maybe we weren't meant to last," and finally let them go. Instead, she replaced them with her own. "I was meant to survive." Her chest still ached, but it was no longer hollow. She breathed deeply, knowing she had chosen herself. The silence of her phone was no longer cruel. It was hers. Back in her room, Anna set her phone on the nightstand and whispered one last time, "Goodbye, David." She lay down, staring at the ceiling. The silence that once broke her now felt like a shield. Her heart still carried scars, but they were proof she had survived. She whispered, "And that was the last time his name ever lit up my phone." Her eyes closed, not with despair, but with exhausted peace. Outside, the night was quiet, and for the first time in years, Anna no longer waited. She finally let herself drift into sleep, alone, but free.